David Copperfield, Chapter 2. My mother was beautiful, with silky long hair and a useful shape. Peggotty was with no shape at all, and eyes so black they seemed to darken her whole face, and had red and firm cheeks and arms. One day the garden bell rings, and we went out the door. My mother, looking unusually pretty, stood speaking to a man, the same man who had walked her home from church on Sunday. My mother picked me up, and the man patted my head, but somehow I didn't like him. Later, I was wakened from a half sleep in the parlor, my mother and Peggotty arguing. Not someone like him. Mr. Copperfield wouldn't have liked that. You will drive me crazy, my mother cried. I don't care what other people are saying. Nothing is settled between the two of us, and how can you accuse me of not caring for Davy? One day, my mother was out. Peggotty said, Davy, how would you like to spend a couple of weeks at my brother's place by the sea? It would be wonderful, Peggotty, but what would mother say? She can't stay by herself. She will let us go, Peggotty assured me, and she did, calling it a wonderful plan. We're headed to Yarmouth behind the slowest horse in the world. The driver himself mimicked his horse. There is the house, Davy, Peggotty said. I looked in all directions, but all I saw was an old boat. That ship-looking thing, I asked, that's it? She said yes, and led me toward it. Daniel's, Peggotty's brother, was like his sister. Two others lived there with him, Ham and Emily, the children of relatives whose parents died in the sea. Emily was shy and beautiful, and I was immediately in love. The magistrate of cart and driver came to take us to Balderstone Rookery. I looked forward to returning home, to my own nest, and to my mother. Peggotty, where's my mother? Shouldn't she be at home? I cried. Yes, Davy, I'm sure she's here, but wait a moment, and I'll tell you something. Tell me, Peggotty, tell me now, Davy. You have got a father. Anyone, I mean, said Peggotty. Come and see him. I don't want to see him, Peggotty said. Then come and see your mother. She led me to the Sunday parlor and left me there. On the side of the fire sat my mother, on the other Mr. Murdstone. My mother dropped her embroidery and rose hurriedly. Control yourself, said Mr. Murdstone. Davy, my boy, how do you do? My mother kissed me and patted my shoulder, and said nothing. My old bedroom was moved to a room farther down the hall from my mother's room. Mr. Murdstone's sister was coming to stay with us. She was like her brother. The next morning, long before daylight, Mr. Murdstone was up and raising her bell to wake the household. When mother came down to prepare tea for breakfast, our guest said, No, Clara, my dear, I'm here to relieve you. You are much too pretty and thoughtless to have any duties. Just give me your keys, and I'll take care of everything from now on. From that moment, my mother was furnishing in her own house. Miss Murdstone kept the key on her belt or under her pillow. There was to be talk of my going to boarding school. The Murdstone proposed the idea. My mother, of course, agreed, but nothing was done about it. On what was to be the last days of my lesson at home, I entered the room my mother and Miss Murdstone sat waiting. Mr. Murdstone said, Now, David, you must be far more careful in your study today than usual. I was so frightened by the threat that the lesson went badly. My mother said, David, your stupidity is too much for your poor mother. Mr. Murdstone said, Go upstairs, boy. Mr. Murdstone, please don't beat me, I cried. I have tried to learn, but I can't while you are so close. Can't or won't, boy? He beat me, and I caught his hand in my teeth and bit down in it. He beat me terribly then, as he would beat me to death. I heard running on the stairs. Mother and Peggotty were crying out to stop the torture. Then he was gone, and the door to the room was locked. Mr. Madstone brought me supper, saying not a word, and locking the door on her way out until the fifth night. When I heard Peggotty whisper at the keyholes, "Where is Mamma, Peggotty? Is she angry with me for biting Mr. Madstone?" "No, dear, but you are going away to school tomorrow, near London." I could hear her crying softly on the outside of the jail door. "Won't I see Mamma again?" "Yes, in the morning. I just come to see that you must never forget me." "And I'll never forget you. And I'll take care of your mother and never leave her. I'll never forget you, Peggotty." In the morning, my bags were by the door. My mother with red eyes and pale as she explains that I was going to school for my own good, and that I could come home for the holidays. ما تنسوش تعملوا لايك للفيديو واشتركوا